Okay, so the whole point of gross debt service ratio, which we call the GDSR, is that you want to check that you can actually afford the house that you're trying to buy. Because I mean, we'd all love to live in a great big house worth lots of money, but sometimes we can't afford that. So this is just a way to kind of a little formula that you use that's going to help you decide if the house you're trying to buy you can afford. So the deal is that the gross debt service ratio has to be 32% or less. Okay? Yep. We skipped it yesterday. We talked about that yesterday. You were here. So 32 is the magic number. So 32% or under is good. You can afford it. So 32% or lower, that's supposed to be an R, which looks like an N, or lower is good. So if I get a gross debt service ratio of 45%, that means I really can't afford the house and the kind of the fees associated with it, because you go through this, your mortgage payment that you owe the bank, and we've done lots of stuff on mortgage payments. Every house that you buy, whether it's, if you own it, if you go and buy it, you have to pay property tax on it, and you pay that to the city. And if you're on Thompson Talk, you probably hear lots of people complaining that we pay a lot of money for our property taxes and they're not taking care of the roads. That's kind of the big thing right now. So the property tax is based on how much your house is worth, and the city has a formula that they calculate. Property taxes are usually about, depending on where you live in the town, they're at least $1,000 and they can go up quite high. So depending on what city you live in too will depend on how much your property taxes are. But that's calculated by the city. It's usually given as an annual bill. That happens in September, just so you know. Utility costs, that's going to be like your heat, your water, like hydro, water. I'm just trying to think what else we include. This doesn't include like cable or anything like that, because you can live in the house fine without having cable or without having Wi-Fi. This is the stuff you need to actually like live inside the house. Make sense to everybody? Okay, so it doesn't include like the fun stuff. It just, and then this is your gross monthly income. In grade 11, you guys would have talked about, well, I think we did it in grade 10 too, gross pay versus net pay. Gross is how much money you make, like your hours times by your rate of pay, and that's before any taxes come off or benefits. Before taxes. So gross isn't what gets deposited into your bank account. It's what you've earned. And then like for me, I got to take off union costs. I got to take off benefits. So that's like my health insurance, my eye care, my ambulance. I also have to pay into my pension. So all those things come off my gross pay, and then I get a certain amount deposited into my bank account. Bless you. Kleenex over there? Okay. So I'm going to tell you that we're going to give these to you. The trick's going to be I might give you an annual payment, and you just got to figure out what the monthly portion is. And that's just dividing by 12. So that's going to be the trick to this. I'm never going to give you a net pay and ask you to work backwards to a gross pay. I won't do that. Okay, so let's go into the first example. You wish to purchase a home, and you have a $900 monthly mortgage payment. So it's telling you your mortgage payment. You don't need to get your chart out. You don't need to know what interest rate. It's telling you your mortgage payment. Your gross monthly income is $3,500. The monthly property taxes are $125, and the monthly utility costs are $150. Okay, so we're going to calculate our GDSR, our gross debt service ratio. So we're going to put this all in that formula.
Do you have to all
Yes, you're gonna plus all those together. And then divide by 12. Yep. So you're gonna wanna add all the numerator first and then divide by your gross monthly income. Because all of the information in our thing has been given, so $900 monthly. My gross monthly income. So it's all given to me, my monthly property taxes. Don't have to divide by 12 in this question. Okay, so, you know, like the bank has to decide if they're going to lend you this money. This is kind of how they're going to calculate it. So you can do this at home and figure out if you can actually afford that house. So $900 plus my monthly property taxes are $125. So I've dealt with my 900, I've dealt with my 125. Utilities are 150. And my gross income is 3,500. So I have my handy dandy calculator here. 900 plus 125 plus 150 is $1,175 divided by 3,500. And I'm just timesing by 100 because that gets it into a percentage. So if I divide that by 3,500, and then I'm going to times by 100, and I get, and we're going to round to the nearest whole percentage point. So like I get 33.57, and that's going to round to a 34%. So my GDSR here is 34%. So a little bit of math, nothing too hard. I would definitely make sure this was on my cheat sheet, like this formula, gross debt service ratio, and the number 32, like 32%. So there's my gross debt service ratio. Will you be approved for the mortgage? How come? Because it's over 32%. It's over 32%. Right, so this would be a nice question that I give on the test to calculate gross debt service ratio. I'm having a hard time saying that today. And then this B part, pretty straightforward. You're saying yes or no. And it's not because they want to be mean and say you can't have the money or live in that house. It's just because 32%, that means that you have 68% left to live on, like, so that will pay for your clothing, your food, all that other stuff, transportation, that sort of stuff. So you shouldn't have more than 32% because you won't ever hear the saying like house poor. You'd be giving too much of your salary to a house. Okay, next one. Tom and Sarah Green want to purchase their dream home in Winnipeg. The mortgage company has offered them a mortgage payment, a monthly mortgage payment of $1,145. Tom's job pays $2,400, while Sarah's gross monthly income is $2,450. The utility company estimates the annual cost of gas, electricity will be $2,000. Okay. I'm gonna highlight that. Annual means yearly. So this is the case where we're gonna have to figure out what our monthly utility cost is. So the municipality shows that the property taxes are $3,600 a year. So again, annual by like a year, those are all things we need them to be broken down into monthly. Okay, so here we go. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna deal with them right up front. So I got utility cost and I got them annually. So I'm gonna take the $2,640 and I'm gonna divide it by 12 months. And that's going to be $220 per month. And then we have our property tax. And again, that's given by the year, and that's usually how it's done unless you decide to do something else. I don't really know what's going on. Go on a payment plan or something like that. So you would pay $300 per month. Now, we don't pay, like me, I don't pay my property taxes per month because there's usually a fee associated with it. But if you know it's going to be $3,600 a year, you know you can put some money away for that bill, put it in a savings account or something.
You pay yours by a year?
Mm-hmm. September 30th it has to be paid by. And I think our property tax is $2,800 a year, so $2,800 a year. So we know that we have to save up because, you know, that's a big hit in September. So we save up and we pay our bill at the end of September. Okay, so mortgage payment is $1,145. Then we add our monthly property taxes, which we figured out to be $300 a month. Then we add our monthly utility, which we figured out to be $220. And now this is a little different because we have two people buying the house. So the house will be in two people's names. So they're going to look at both of those. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our gross monthly income from both of them. And we're going to add those together on the bottom. Times by 100. Oops. I guess I could have done that one in my head. I'm just so excited to use my calculator. So again, I'm going to round to the nearest whole percent. And so that's going to be 34%. Use the gross debt service ratio to determine if they would qualify for this mortgage. So would the bank give them the mortgage on this house? No. Hey. Oh, sorry. No problem. They'll just have to wait. So they would not be approved because they're over that 32%. So if I were putting this on my cheat sheet, I'd have the formula and then I'd have the magic number of 32 that you have to be less than 32. Are we good with that? Yep. Okay. Nothing too terrible with this. Okay, so now we're going to do an affordability chart. Okay. This is just a different way to organize it. Okay. So a person decided to buy a house worth $85,000. The down payment is going to be $6,000. The monthly property taxes are $120. The heating costs are $110. Calculate the max affordability price, the monthly mortgage payment, and the gross debt service ratio if the bank will finance a house at 7.5% for 25 years. Whew, that was a lot of stuff. Okay, here we go. Gross monthly, so we're just going to fill it in as we go. Gross monthly household income. That's your $2,500. And it's going to tell you what to do. So we're going to take the gross debt service ratio, which is our 32. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're kind of working backwards with this. We're saying, how much will the bank approve us for? So I know what kind of houses to look for in that range. So we have to convert to a decimal. So that's going to be 32 divided by 100. So that's going to equal 0.32. So we need to multiply this by this. So I'll write that up here. 2,500 times 0.32. And we get $800 here. Okay, so what this is telling me that is if I have a gross monthly income of $2,500, I can spend $800 per month on household expenses. So those extra costs that come with a house. Okay, so what's our monthly property tax? Monthly property tax is 120, so we're going to fill that in. Monthly heating costs, 110. I'm just going through it, and I like to cross off the numbers I've used just so I can kind of see, like, because these questions have so many pieces to it, it just helps me visualize kind of like I'm almost done with these things. Half of a condo or strata fees, if applicable. Okay, so let's talk about what a condo is. We don't have a lot of them in Thompson. I don't know, Princeton Towers was trying to be condos for a little bit, but I don't think that went over very well. So a condo is like an apartment or like a townhouse like on Red River, those ones that you own. You own it, you don't rent it, but you're still in like a big apartment building. So you pay a fee and they take care of like the maintenance in the building. They take care of like making sure the lobby's clean, your grass is cut, things like that. So that's a condo fee. We don't have a lot of them here, so that's not applicable. So I'm just gonna draw a line over that. So what we're gonna do is we are subtracting those from 800. So that's going to be 800, subtract 120, subtract 110. And that's going to go here. So that is, we can afford
Where are you subtracting that from?
800.
Oh.
So 800 minus 120 minus 110. And that gives me the 570. Oops, sorry. You done? Sweet. Thank you. Okay. All right. We have to divide by the interest factor from the table. I think that table is at the back of our book. Okay. Gonna go to the back of our book. Okay, those are our problem sets. Here we are. So it's table 7, and those are all just the lines that we just went through, but this is the factor that we're looking for. Do you guys remember how much interest rate we had going on there? Okay, go back to the question. 7.5. So we're going to look at our table. So 7.5 is what I'm looking for. So my factor is 0.00732. Where am I? Sorry, a little lost right now. So, 0.00732. And that was from the table in the back of your book. So we're going to take 570 and we're going to divide it by 0.00732. Okay, so the 77,000 that we just calculated, I'll let you catch up. Sorry, guys. I always go too fast.
You got your pen to buy one, right?
Nope,
All right, I didn't do that.
because we're not using the gross debt service ratio. We're just following this chart all the way down. So we're working backwards. We're seeing how much of a house we can buy. All right. So what we just calculated here is what the bank will loan us. The bank will loan us $77,868.85. So that's what the bank is willing to give us for a mortgage. And we had, if we go back up to the question, we had $6,000 for our down payment. So if I add 6,000 here, ooh, it's an 8. So you're going to be adding those together. Add those together, and that's going to equal that line there. So what you can buy, the maximum house you can buy when you're looking, you can buy an $83,868.85 house. This person was looking at an $85,000 house. Would the bank approve us?
Yeah, no?
85 is more than this. They're only going to give us 83. So you would need to find that $1,200 extra somewhere if you really wanted this house. So maybe you take out a loan from mom and dad, or maybe you put more money down because you were going to save it for other things. But they wouldn't get the house. Sorry guys, I had the page all crooked and everything. Okay, so we're going to try this one without a chart. You can always make your chart if you want to, like you can, if you want to draw the lines out or anything. I do not know what's going on in our hallway. What is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, our photocopier died. This is its temporary replacement. We're gonna have to get a new one, but this one is on loan. It's a loaner for us. So we're gonna do the exact same thing, but we're gonna do it without a table. All right, here we go. He's got $12,500 saved up for a down payment. So we're figuring out how much of a house I can buy. How much money will the bank approve me for? He earns about $2,800 each month. So we're going to take my gross monthly income, $2,800, and we're going to divide by the gross debt service ratio, but as a decimal. Oh, sorry, we're timesing. We're not dividing. We're timesing. I was like, why is that number so big? Because I didn't do my math right. So we have approximately $896 to spend on monthly income or monthly household expenses. So then from this, we are going to subtract property taxes. So what are the things in the table, right? We got to subtract property taxes, heating costs. Okay, so we got to subtract our monthly property taxes, which is $180, and we got to subtract our heating costs, which is $125. So that gives us $591 to spend on a monthly mortgage payment. We got the T in mortgage. It's a silent T. Now you have to go to your table. So now we go to the table. and find the factor, the rate. So we're looking at a 7%. Okay, 7%, so we got to go back to that table at the back of our book. And we're going to multiply it by the factor that's associated with it. So 7%, so the factor is going to be 0.00700. So flip back to this. So we are going to then take 591 and we're going to times it by, we're not timesing it, I did it backwards again. We're going to be dividing by 0.00700. Did I need the 2 zeros at the end? Not really, but I'm going to practice writing all my factors. So that's going to give me $84,428.57. That is the affordable mortgage. Now we're not quite done yet because now we are going to add the down payment. Because this person, Greg, has saved up $12,500 to put on a house. So this is the max affordable but this question didn't ask for the max affordable house price. What did it ask for? The maximum amount of mortgage. So where's my mortgage line? Right here. This is what the bank would offer me that I could borrow from them. This is, with my 12,000, I could look for a house that's up to about 97,000 when I'm looking online for a house. I find the little lines like this one is a little bit more organized. Then I'd miss my steps if I didn't have all my lines. You know what I mean? So that's it for gross debt service ratio, but it's just how the banks and us figure out, can we afford the house and what amount can I borrow from the bank? So it's a super powerful tool.